Hello everyone, you've tuned into Business Today TV and I'm Akanksha. Today we have with us a very special guest. He's Edimon Francis, the Managing Director of Brand Finance India. Thank you for joining us here, sir.
Thank you so much, Akanksha.
So let's just dive into the questions. So my first question to you is that in the current times where social media has become such a big influencing platform, how does brand finance settle on valuations for brands?
See, like in traditional media, how we used to look at TRPs and readership in print media and in television, etc. In the new era, we also have digital marketing going very strong for most of the brands. It is an integral part of brand building.
Okay.
So it is only moved one level up. So as valuers, we have to look at how brand building as a process is being done by various custodians, the brand custodians. So like we measure the print and television readership and viewership, we also look at social media footprint, how stories are getting carried forward. What is the ripple effect is something that we look at very carefully because it's also about how these stories connect with the people on social media. That's a very important factor for us while doing brand valuation of all these brands.
All right, sir. Talking along the same lines, we've seen that while some small influencers have been able to capture the market, but it's been hard for some legacy brands to, crack the social media code.
Right.
So according to you, what do you think are they missing out on, or what is that they're doing wrong, and how can they correct their path?
It is actually, we have a slightly different take on this.
Okay.
In brand finance, what we understand is that the so-called legacy brands, as you call them, they have built their brand over 4 or 5 decades.
Yeah.
It has taken years for them to create distribution networks, large sales force, huge number of trade partners, and consistent communication, whether it is through advertising or whether through retail presence, to create a brand following, a set of loyal customers who are loyal to them. But technology has enabled the younger companies or the newer startups to break through this timeline of painful building up of distribution networks, etc. And they're able to get across to the customers almost directly in real time.
Yeah.
And they're using influencers as one of the tools of doing that. E-commerce also is enabling that in a big way. Thankfully, in our country, data is cheap. Networks, the presence of mobile phones, devices, etc. is enormous. Due to that, it is helping younger brands to reach out to their customers. So influencers, yes, they do have an impact. But it is too early to say that it is influencers alone who are kind of propelling these brands, because to be very honest, brands are actually built on good products and consistent discipline in manufacturing them, ensuring good packaging, delivering what that brand is supposed to deliver in terms of product benefits.
Yeah.
That's what the foundation of a good brand is. It is not based on one of the tools which is used, which is influencers.
Okay.
That's our understanding.
All right. Talking about influencers, you've seen that you've spoken many times that a brand is not just an individual. When you speak of Alexander McQueen, about even when he passed away, the brand carried on.
That's right.
But what about the social media age where brands are becoming synonymous to influencers, not just company brands, but even individuals who have, their line of merchandise and things like that.
Right.
Once the influencers' influence, so to say, fades away, what then?
See, it's like this. There are business offerings or there are product offerings which are based on individual personalities, or it is based on individual creativity. Like the great fashion designers of our country, like Sabyasachi, for example, or Manish Arora, with whom we worked quite a lot in a few years ago. Obviously, they have a very big impact on the way their brand develops, the way they connect with the end users, etc. But then smart marketers, like how Louis Vuitton is doing today globally, what they have realized is that there are certain elements which are core to that brand.
Okay.
That needs to be retained. So even if Alexander McQueen has passed away, those core elements, if they are retained in the product, again, I'll come back to this. Brands are built on strong products and very good, consistent discipline
Okay.
on packaging, on product delivery, etc. So if those key elements of that personality can be captured, understood, and ensured that it continues, then the brands can decouple from the founders or the individual personas that are created around the brands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It works more in the luxury and the fashion and all those spaces. Yes.
all right, sir. So what I understand from what you're saying is the current influencer boom is probably just a fad, and by the end of it, the basic elements of the product is actually the fundamentals of the product is what actually matters.
Brands are born out of ideas,
Yeah.
created as products, and that will never change. We always had influencers, if I may go back to it, which is we've always had an aunt or a friend who has convinced us that we should go for a sneaker, or we should buy a particular TV or a refrigerator at home. Those influences have always played a role. Only thing was, it was within the family or within the college group of friends. Today, thanks to technology and social media platforms, that is widened out.
Yeah.
So if I have a person with a strong opinion about, say, cosmetics, instead of he or she having an influence in a college level, he or she is having that influence in a nation level.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. So it's not a new phenomenon, nor is it going to fade away.
Okay.
So with maybe metaverse coming in, with virtual reality coming in, they will transform themselves into different avatars. But influence on a customer has been there and will always be there.
Okay. So how is brand finance getting up for the metaverse and for NFTs and the whole Web3, which is, developing?
We are still working on it in terms of what does it mean in terms of, finally, brand is not airy, fairy, nice feeling thing. Brands have to connect with people. It has to make monetary sense for the customers to consume it. So there has to be a monetary transaction between the company which is giving it and the customer who is using it. So right now, the metaverse and NFTs are all at a nascent stage where people are still getting a feel of that space.
Okay.
Customers are exploring what it means. Many of them are still reluctant to invest money into metaverse, but they're just getting a feel of it. It will slowly evolve where companies will figure out what they can sell and customers will figure out how they can consume from a metaverse. But it's a very early stage where NFTs is just a initial offering, which seems to connect with certain customers who are looking at sports memorabilia or art memorabilia, etc., to be bought on metaverse.
All right, sir. Thank you for this insightful conversation. Thank you for joining us. It was really exciting.
Thank you so much.
Sir.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.